Hello, loves. Hello, hello. It's Hills from the Blue Flame Apothecary here. It is almost time for the Scorpio Lunar Eclipse, which will have us tesserating out of the eclipse wormhole. Today, I'm feeling that we're going to be exploring subtle shifts to profound transformation. Let's let that frequency settle into our beings a little bit, shall we? Subtle shifts to profound transformation. Oftentimes, we think that the eclipses, these magnifiers of destiny, these portals of transformation, these karmic clearing houses that eclipses are going to make these very visible, like surface visible shifts in our life. And sometimes they do, absolutely. Sometimes they do. However, occasionally, and this particular eclipse is one of these occasionallys, the shifting that happens is in the subtle realms. What do I mean by that? What are the subtle realms? We could consider our emotional body a subtle realm, right? Like, not our surface level emotions, but like the depths of our emotions, the deepest part of our being that is connected to how we feel. Those are subtle. Those are subtle. If they were loud, they wouldn't be hard to access, right? So Scorpio is a water sign, and it's connected to our emotions. Water is our emotional body. It is that which flows through us. That which flows through us. And so when we have a water sign like Scorpio, which is all about revealing secrets and unearthing things and getting into the shadows, what we're talking about is getting into those hidden, subtle, seemingly unmovable places. This is what it means to be in a fixed sign. Scorpio is a fixed water sign. So it is taking us into, I'm feeling this one. So one of the things that Pluto energy, which rules Scorpio, and Scorpio deals with is stagnation. And I'm seeing it, the reason I'm laughing is I'm seeing it as a pool of murky water. A pool of murky water that kind of feels dead, right? It feels dead. Yeah, we're just going to go with that one. But if you get closer, you can see that it's actually teeming with life. They're just microscopic. You can also start to notice that as the wind blows, the light plays upon the surface and makes beautiful light-coded messages for us. All of these things, from a distance, it looks like a murky pond or puddle even. But you get up close and you can start to feel and see how teeming with life it is. This is our entryway in to this energy. This is a Scorpio lunar eclipse, so it is already a massive bright light with a full moon shining upon that puddle of murky water. It's an eclipse, so it's being amplified. It's bringing the spotlight closer to us while also making the wattage brighter. So all of that microscopic life within this stagnant pool is able to be revealed. Through that, for ourselves, let's bring it back to our beingness, our emotional bodies. We can feel this as coming into contact with those areas of stagnant emotions for ourselves. A lot of us hold that in our guts. So one of the places that you can play is with the microbiome, with all of the little tiny microscopic beings that live within your guts and help you digest your food and help you process everything. This was something that came in really loudly during the Venus Point activation. If you haven't signed up for that, or if you didn't do that when it was live, the replay is still available. There will be a link below. But part of this energy is helping us retrain our system, rewire our system so that we're not processing all of our emotions through our guts, so that we don't have to task the microbiome with both eating all of our food and processing all of our food, as well as processing all of the emotions that we carry within us, all of the traumas and the ancient stuff. But as we are now moving through this energy, part of this subtle shift is bringing to light how much we have been processing through that space, how much we've been processing through that space. Imagine the transformation available through going into that subtle place, to coming into conversation with your microbiome. What would this do for the way that you eat, for the foods that you eat, the beverages that you drink, for the way that you, the word conversate, which is not a word, keeps coming in, the conversations that you have with your digestive system. In the last video, the Pluto retrograde, I went really hard on Taco Tuesday for whatever reason, but it was more about how we have been trained for so long to, rather than examine these areas of dis-ease, these areas of discomfort, to put something over top of them, to put a prescription over top of them, to put a false idea, a story over top of them, and say, it's not actually this little subtle thing. It's this whole big grandiose thing. And if I just take an Alka-Seltzer, if I just take a Prozac, then I will feel better and I won't have to worry about it anymore. When really all you needed to do was allow yourself to see it. And through that witness, it says, oh, thank you. And you can let go. You can let go. So let's come back. Let's come back into these subtle realms, into these places where we have been trained not to look because there's nothing there. when we can find these places now, we can turn our gaze, turn our spotlight to them, turn our hearts to them. And then we can release the stuff that's not true anymore. So eclipses, I hinted at this a lot over the last year and a half and last couple of weeks, even earlier in this video, are karmic accelerators. And we've talked a lot about karma if you've been following along, but just to bring some more flavor into this, more light upon this. Karma is not, as we have kind of been taught, you did this thing, therefore you have this outcome. It's more about, here are the things that you have experienced as a soul. Here are the growth points available to you in this incarnation through working with those points, through working with those past and those ancestral patterns, through allowing them to clear through you. You clear them through witnessing them, through acknowledging their existence. It's like Jung says, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate. When we find ourselves repeating a pattern that we can then look back and see our brothers and sisters also repeating, we can see our parents also repeating, we can see that their parents were repeating those same patterns, we can say, oh, if I make this little tweak, I can start walking in a different direction. I can go slightly north by northwest. I don't have to keep going the exact same path. When I say that eclipses are rocket ships for our destiny, this is also what I mean. I mean that through the wormhole, through that action of transforming oneself, through that tessering in that wormhole, the deconstruction of our being and then the reanimation. We could think of this also, if you haven't read The Wrinkle in Time, so you don't know what tessering means, you could think of it as I've lost teleportation. You know, you demolecularize and then you come back into being as your same self. However, because you have demolecularized, I don't know if I can say that word, then when you come back together, you have the opportunity to make subtle shifts, right? You can tweak just a tiny little thing. Of course, if you tweak too much, you might lose an arm. You could come back as a pile of goo, right? It's like Jeff Goldblum in The Fly. If something gets in the works, it can really mess things up. However, if you use subtle tools, you can make these little incremental changes that can actually transform the entirety of your life. All right, I haven't gotten much into the astrology in this update. Let's kind of bring this in to these archetypal energies. Why am I talking about subtle shifts through and major transformation? So I did bring in some of it's a Scorpio lunar eclipse, right? Which means the sun's in Taurus. The sun is sitting right in between Uranus and Mercury. Mercury is currently retrograde. About a week after this eclipse on Friday, potentially Saturday, depending on where you live. About a week later, the sun is going to come into an exact conjunction with Uranus, and Mercury is going to turn around and start moving forward again. Let's put a pin in that, but remember it. This is an opposition, right? The sun and the moon. Always. On a full moon, they're always across from one another. In this case, it's a fixed sign. Fixed is those subtle realms. We also have a square between the sun and the moon and the black moon Lilith point, that primordial feminine, take no prisoners, I will not submit energy. And on the other side, making this a fixed grand cross, my friends, Hygeia. It's Hygeia I want to talk about a little bit here, because fixed energy can feel like it's not moving at all. It's that stagnant that I was talking about before. However, Uranus over in Taurus, there with the sun, is very fast, lightning fast. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. And do it now. Like, let's get going. And it's going to happen really quick, really quick. Taurus is your physical body, so it's massive changes very quickly to your physical body. Hygeia can sometimes feel, in some ways, can feel like the feminine embodied version of Uranus. Hygeia is related to the Kundalini energy, and it is that very quick Kundalini. It's like that rapid awakening path. Let me bring that in a little bit more, that Kundalini idea. The idea that you have a Kundalini awakening and you're enlightened. These massive transformative events of the Kundalini awakening are actually subtle shifts. They're actually subtle shifts. These profound transformative episodes that people have with Kundalini awakenings, it's not like the Kundalini wakes up from the base of your spine and miraculously rises up out of the top of your head. I mean, sometimes, absolutely. It depends because of where your Kundalini existed when you incarnated. And that's a whole nother, that's a whole nother story. We would be here for hours trying to talk about that one. So let's get back to this subtle energy. You see, as the Kundalini wakes up, as this snake uncurls and begins to move, every single energy point it hits on its way up is a massive transformation. So that first uncurling, that first of the head, is monumentally transformative. And people can experience this and be like, holy fuck, I am enlightened now. I am seeing things in a whole new way. And it was simply a turn of the head. And then it continues. And sometimes it's a slow pace, and sometimes it's a fast pace, and you're like, oh, I'm seeing a whole new thing. Oh, I'm seeing a whole new thing. But each time those transformations happen, it's still just subtle shifts. oh, I'm at that first, past the tailbone vertebrae now. So Hygeia represents this energy. Her symbol is the caduceus, those two snakes rising up the spine, that rod. We can start to feel, yes, the enormous potential of these subtle seeming shifts, right? That after all of the swirling and twirling, the demolecularization, I got it, of that teleportation, as we start to recombine ourselves, a tiny little tweak, and our entire outlook is transformed. How do we then bring that into the world? How do we then bring that into the world? And this has me coming back to what we pinned earlier. The sun coming into conjunction with Uranus in Taurus. About a week after we emerge from the wormhole, as Mercury turns back around and starts moving forward. Let's feel for a moment the kind of decombobulation, this. Let me take a moment, because there's a word that wants to come through and I want to give it some space. The electromagnetic tomfoolery is what's coming in of Mercury retrograde. We can feel the electromagnetic tomfoolery of Mercury retrograde. It has been with us through this entire eclipse wormhole, and it's going to continue until about a week after we emerge. Our entire energy body, our hearts and our brains, are electromagnetic fields. So when we are in the midst of this electromagnetic tomfoolery of Mercury retrograde, we are being asked to connect with that aspect of ourselves and see what might be out of alignment. As the sun meets in conjunction with Uranus, we're being asked to look at what we might be able to wake up from. What we might be able to wake up from, especially in our sense of self as relates to the world around us. Taurus is the physical manifest world. So as we start to come back together from this tessor that we've experienced through the eclipse wormhole, we are gifted with Mercury turning back around in forward direction in Taurus also, right? Helping us connect our electromagnetic, our recalibrated electromagnetic beingness with our physical beingness, helping us to anchor through all of the kind of scattershot information that came through as we were traveling in that eclipse wormhole. All of the very fast-paced, hard to hold sometimes information, because everything was being shook up and the tornado was spinning around us and all of the things grabbing onto any one. I mean, we were demolecularized. I will get that word occasionally. So how could we grab something? And what is happening is, as we emerge and these cosmic alignments occur, they're gifting us with an opportunity to say, oh, okay, now I can actually I can make that tangible. This is the thing to make tangible. So if you've been trying to figure out which direction to go as you're getting ready to come out into the broadness of the new day, give yourself a beat. This is the advice that I'm feeling coming through for myself, and something that I'm sharing with people that I'm working with and that I'm sharing with you now, is to give yourself a beat, to take a pause, to take a moment, to allow your system to come back together. Allow the Mercury retrograde that's still happening to give you a place to go within, into your emotional body, into your mental body, those electromagnetic, energetic fields within you, so that you can figure out what the subtle shifts have changed. And therefore, through that, then when things start to open up and you can see more clearly and you can feel yourself more fully, you can see which path and how to make manifest the thing that has been transformed. And there's a lot of, before I close, I wanna speak to, there is a lot of energy of falling away going on right now. We're entering a cycle with a lot of fixed energy, but we also have a really powerful, on this lunar eclipse, mutable T-square and mutable Grand Cross. So the transformation could be also very visible. It could feel like a death. It could feel like something is dying, because mutable energy is out with the old. Out with the old. Some of this mutable energy is running for a long time. Neptune is in a very, very, very long running square with the galactic center. I talked a lot more about this in the Cosmic Light Drops, both the one that I just published for the Scorpio Lunar Eclipse and the one from the beginning of April. And there will be a link below to go check those out and to subscribe if you're not already a subscriber to that newsletter. But Neptune is spending the next couple of years until 2026, when it finally emerges out of Pisces, in those last degrees of Pisces, which is putting it in an exact square, back and forth, kind of wavering over the top of the galactic center, which is at 27 degrees of Sagittarius. This point has been transformed into a Grand Cross, because in Virgo is Ceres, and Ceres is currently moving retrograde, kind of dancing away from this square, but will be turning around again soon. And Ceres, if you remember, is also named Demeter, the goddess of the harvest. It's you reap what you sow. It is planting the seeds and harvesting them. And back at the beginning of April, it was Hecate that was making up that Gemini portion of this Grand Cross. Hecate's moved on to Cancer now, and during this lunar eclipse, it's Venus making an exact square to Neptune and sitting across the wheel from the galactic center, and a square to Ceres. This energy of the Neptune GC galactic center square is helping us. Neptune is that intergalactic shaman, right? It's that energy of revealing, thinning veils. And it really feels to me like this is happening over these next couple of years as a energetic template of connecting us to our galactic and to our intergalactic, beyond our galaxy. The galactic center connects to the black hole at the center of the galaxy, which then connects to all of the galaxies through that black hole, and the black hole that is in the center of each galaxy. It connects you to that place of the no thing. From the all thing to the no thing and back again. So with Neptune having that shamanic energy there, what we're being gifted, we're being gifted to see around a corner. Squares are tense, but only if you are rigid in your way of seeing. If you are allowing yourself to see in a different way, they can become very, very profound gifts. And when it's a grand cross, it amplifies that ability, right? It's X marks the spot. Neptune is thinning the veil between our human beingness and our galactic beingness, helping to bring the medicine of our true nature back to us. That's one way you could feel it. That's the way I feel it anyways. Let's feel here. Venus in Gemini, bringing some love to our mental realms. We can get so judgy with our minds, can't we? We can shame spiral so easily from this place. Venus here, as part of this mutable grand cross, feels like she is lovingly saying, silly, that's okay. I see that shame spiral. I see that not good enoughness. May I show you this mirror of how beautiful you actually are? Can we replace those thoughts with thoughts and remembrances of your true light? Think about this now. We started with the subtle shifts for major transformations with the emotional body. What would transform in your life if you could change a tiny, even a word in your interior monologue? From I am not enough to I am enough. Can you feel that? This is seemingly subtle. It's 3 letters. 3 letters. Yet, it completely transforms the meaning and the energy. And it helps open your heart space. So through subtle shifts in the mental realm, you can expand your emotional realm and vice versa. They all work together in a beautiful symphony. Speaking of working together, the Soul Path Journey explorations and light activations are available. I am so excited with the way that they are unfolding, the paths that are opening up, and the profound transformations that are occurring through myself and with those that I've been working with. It's really beautiful. If you're at all interested, there will be a link below to request a consult. We work with the Akashic records, we work with the natal charts, we call in your soul group and your lineages, exploring all of the ways that you all of the contracts that you came in with, all of these karma growth points, and find the next place to turn. There's various ways that we do this, and it's changeable and custom tailored. It's uniquely tailored to your particular journey. It really is. So that's why the consult. We'll sit together for a mini light activation conversation, open channel, and explore what would best serve your journey. It could be a single natal chart transmission. It could be an extended every other week, every 3 weeks, every month exploration and light activation. It could be something that I haven't even thought of yet, because it's not me. It's us weaving together. Later today and tomorrow, I'll also be facilitating the transmission and meditation and violet flame release for the Blue Flame Apothecary members portal. If that's something that calls to you, also be a link below for that. Let me feel what is true. Where are we leaving this today? Where are we leaving this today? It's an invitation. It's an invitation to be the Venus yourself, to hold the mirror to yourself, and as you gaze in, see the brilliant light in your eyes, radiating from your heart and glowing around you. Find those places where you can change that one word about your inner dialogue that will help you to expand and transform the way you see yourself, so that you can see the beautiful, beautiful, beautiful light being, the beautiful love, the amazing, unique genius that you are, so that you may see what I see when I gaze upon all of you. Oh, thank you so much. And if you enjoyed this video, please do like it. Leave me a comment if that calls. I would love to hear how you're transforming, what these subtle shifts are doing for you. Again, the newsletter's out. There will be a link below. And as always, in all ways, so much and many loves to you from, through, and beyond all the dimensions.